for most everyday phenomena that we deal with in chemistry, the nuclei of the atoms remain intact. So we're really just treating the nuclei as just one particle. Okay, but the atoms may lose electrons to other atoms. Okay, or an atom may gain electrons from other atoms. So electrons, we say, can get transferred from one atom to another. Or atoms could end up sharing electrons with other atoms. So these are the kinds of things that tend to happen when atoms interact with other atoms. Okay, and so when these things happen, then you say ions and molecules are formed. So exactly what's an ion and what's a molecule? Okay, an ion is something that has a non-zero charge. Okay, so remember, when electrons are lost or gained, you end up with an ion. You end up with a charged particle. So charge is number of protons minus number of electrons. Cations, okay, have more protons than electrons, so they are positively charged. So that's what happens when what? An atom loses an electron, right? It has more protons now than electrons. And ions are negatively charged. So when an atom gains electrons, it becomes negatively charged. We say it's an anion. So what would be the charge of an ion that has 12 protons and 10 electrons? What's the charge? 2. So it's 12, number of protons minus number of electrons. So positive 2. Is it a cation or an anion? Cation. Here's a way to remember that it's positive. This T that looks like a plus. Okay. Right. Now, each atom normally is neutral, electrically neutral. That means it has an equal number of protons and electrons, right? So the charge of an atom, we say, is 0. But if an atom loses or gains electrons, then the result is a charged particle called a monatomic ion. Monoatomic, shortened to monatomic. So monatomic ion is what you get when an atom loses or gains electrons. Right. Now, the symbol for a monatomic ion is the same as the symbol for the atom that it came from, except that you have to specify the charge on the upper right-hand corner of the symbol as a superscript. Okay, so if I have a symbol Mg here with a 2 plus, that tells me that this has how many protons? This magnesium has how many protons? No? Magnesium? A magnesium atom has 12 protons and 12 electrons, right? Okay, the plus 2 means, the 2 plus means it's lost 2 electrons. That's the charge. So that means it will still have 12 protons. Remember, it's only the electrons that transfer. So how could it have a positive 2 charge? That means it has 2 more positives. Okay, so that means how many electrons do you have left? 10 electrons. Okay, so you have 12 protons and 10 electrons. Now, one thing you'll notice about the way the charge is written here, the standard way of writing it is if it's plus 1, you just put plus. Okay? If it's plus 2, you actually put 2 in front of the plus. If the charge is plus 3, then you put 3 in front of the plus. Now, in the old days, you can write this as plus 2 or plus 3. And if your teacher is really, really old, your teacher might write it as plus plus, same thing, or plus plus plus. Those all mean the same thing. So if I write MAL plus plus plus, that's the same thing as Al, that's aluminum 3 plus. Okay? Same thing with negative charges. If the charge is negative 1, you don't put the 1, you just put minus. A minus sign, that implies a negative 1 charge. If it's negative 2, you put the 2 in front of the minus. Okay? So that's how you write the symbol for an ion. So what type of monatomic ion is one that has 7 protons and 10 electrons?
Oh, how would it be an anion because it's negative?
It's negative, right? So the charge is 7 minus 10, negative 3. So that's your charge. So it would be negative ion, anion. What's the symbol? 7 protons. Anything that has 7 protons would have what symbol? It would have N. That's nitrogen. Okay? It has a nucleus with 7 protons.
So it gained 3.
That means it's gained 3 electrons. Okay? So the symbol would be N -3 or 3 minus. You write it as 3 minus.